Why we up here talking like women? Because when you think about it, bro,
how we talking like a woman? Who you talking to?
I'm about to explain it.
Thin mustache.
We're talking as if guys in their 40s just got their ish together. We talking as just like we're talking from the upper echelon men, like the guys. We're talking about the top 10% of men. You got to talk about men in general.
I got a quick question for the men on the panel who are married, right? Or you know, if they feel like they're in a successful marriage. Not to speak anything into existence, but let's just say somehow you were no longer with your wife for whatever reason. Do you think that you'd be able to find an equivalent to your wife
tomorrow?
I don't think that's the issue, though. Issue is
no. I just wanted everybody to answer the question. I wanted to see what they actually thought about that.
My wife is my wife is irreplaceable, but I would be able to find whatever substitute was necessary.
You also put us on the record to get cussed out too, sure.
Marcus, you would be able to replace that feeling that your wife make you feel. You can always, you a handsome brother. You can always replace a body, but that essence, you think you can replace that tomorrow?
No, I mean, we 14, 15 years in, so the connection would take a long time to build.
When I presented the question, I wasn't even talking about the feeling per se. I was just saying, like, can you find an equivalent, right? One that is as obedient, as cooperative, as feminine, as whatever it is that the qualities in your wife, because it's not normally common that people answer that way. Everybody's answering pretty clever tonight, but generally people don't say they could, right? So if you
I would say that I can. I don't see why you couldn't.
Man, I'll be honest with you, Trav. I'm about to be 40 years old. The likelihood of me finding a similar woman that I found when she was 20, she was hopeful. She was impressionable. No way, bro. I would have to get lucky to find that at 40. Or even, I would even argue that the guys that's older than me have a higher degree of difficulty finding that, bro. It's not a matter of them not having charm or youth. It was just a matter of the compatibility.
I look at it like this. Like, say, you know, in your 40s, you have a wider selection of women that you could choose from more than any other age. I feel like this is a golden age for any man that's out there dating, because you could go 28, 32, 35. You know what I'm saying?
But y'all looking at the volume. The volume doesn't mean quality.
Y'all gotta
the volume does mean, because it's like you have more of a selection. When you 50, you
actually gotta filter out more. It's more of a hassle trying to figure out the one when you got all of the facades to swipe left and right on.
But doesn't that give you greater odds?
No, right. Gentlemen.
I don't understand. I don't understand the logic in that.
Okay, well, understand it from this point. When I met my wife, she was young. We built together. I didn't already like right now. If I was trying to go get a wife and I have already had my shit together, my peace, I got to invite somebody in here that could disrupt that. That's a challenge for somebody who's 50, 60. They got to go out there and do that. She might not be all the way on board with you, but somebody who you met, I'm 26, 25. I met her at 2021. We ain't have shit. We both built together. That's very easy to do. That's the likelihood of me finding a wife in that stage is better than me being 50, 60, trying to find a wife. When I got it all paved and I got my piece, bro, come on, no way. I would have to get extremely lucky, bro.
Why we up here talking like women? Because when you think about it, bro.
How we talking like a woman? Who you talking to?
I'm about to explain it.
Thin mustache.
We're talking as if guys in their 40s just got their ish together. We talking as just like we're talking from the upper echelon men, like the guys. We're talking about the top 10% of men. You got to talk about men in general. You can't just talk about
Well, see,
guys
you're
who got their
changing the
stuff.
landscape because the whole premise of this show, the challenge was with the older guys.
Right. The older guys. I'm talking about the whole gambit of guys 35, 40 plus. We cannot just talk about the high income earning, the guys who got their social economic status on point. You got to
Well,
talk about.
I'm not even talking about a. I'm not talking
I
about a
mean,
guy.
this is King talk, bro. So
I don't think he put a
but
number on it.
Wait.
I think he said the state of
So
it.
when we do king talk, and maybe I'm stupid, is it just talking about the upper echelon of men?
Wait,
I mean, everybody's gonna talk from their own perspective. So if
Right, but we can't just talk from our own perspective because we're
that's the only
all
perspective
acting
that
like.
we know.
Hold on, but listen, but if
wait, but
you
Will, but
I can't even
so
get a thought
here,
out. Dog.
hey,
Go ahead,
This
Billy.
ain't peasant
we
talk.
just doing what you do, bro.
What I do.
Hey,
Listen,
so look.
I've been trying to get in and I've been like, all right, cool, I'll wait. I try to get in, all right, I'll wait. And then as soon as I get in, it's just like dip, 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 dip.
All right, I'm gonna throw this in. So with that being said, right, you said that we're not addressing the guys that don't have their shit together.
No.
I said
That's
what Will said.
No, I'm saying we're talking as
All right,
if
y'all. Let Will finish his point, y'all.
we're talking as if all guys got their stuff together. So when we're talking about guys in their 40s, like Sherm said, I'm talking about my experiences. Cool. I don't have no problem with guys talking about their experiences. But if we're talking about men in general, we can't interject our personal experience and talk as if that's a standard. No, that's a one-off. Like Darwin's been married, almost 15 years, you say? 15 years, Darwin will be disqualified for really knowing what it's like out here in these streets. Now, can he live vicariously through some other people? Absolutely. He could be talking to people and he's like, from what he hears, but he doesn't have the real life application of dating in his late 30s and 40s. I don't know how long, Viz, I don't know how long you've been married. Hank been married for a while. I don't know how many of you guys are actually been dating in your late 30s and 40s. Because
how does that disqualify us from having input when we have access?
It's not disqualifying you from having an opinion, but what I'm saying is if your opinion derives from your personal experience, your opinion will be flawed when speaking upon men in general. Because men in general get stuck in their ways just like women do. As guys get older, they're more difficult to deal with, just like women are more difficult to deal with. Guys are just not all guys in their late 30s and 40s are not just these well put together men that all they got to do is find the right kind of woman and they good to go. No, they might find the right woman and she might be like, he got some deep psychological problems. I don't want to be with this fool.
Yo, Will, why are you under the assumption that a man has to be whole to get married?
I'm not under that assumption. What do you mean? Marriage is just
you're leading with having their XYZ together.
Exactly.
I said we're
talking. It doesn't quantify every marriage.
That is what you said, Will.
And to strengthen Kenny's point, Will, let's just say we're talking about guys that's got their shit together. Okay. Everything still applies. We can put the guys that don't got their shit together, because I think we read when we're talking about this issue, we can literally focus on guys who got their shit together. And all of this stuff
you will have to preference that so we understand what type of man we're talking about. Are we talking about a man who's college educated, who has a advanced degree like master's or PhD? We're talking about guys who are high income earners, because Sherm said upper middle class. Do we all collectively agree where the upper middle class starts?
We don't even have to put that on there. We could just say a man that's 50 years old, that's just want to have a wife, or just a life, just like any original. We ain't got to put all this fluff and put a bow tie on him and all that stuff and fill his bank account. Just a regular older guy. Okay. That's simple.
Well, I got a question. So what is so different from dating now compared to 10, 20 years ago? What's so different now?
Well, it's the
Instagram.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it's the age, man. I mean,
first and foremost,
OnlyFans.
20 years ago, 15, 20, 10 years is kind of great, but 15, 20 years ago, people typically dated people who lived in their geographical area. Now you have an influx of people dating people who live in different states, meeting people on social platforms, and trying to figure out long distance interaction.
The reason I answered it that way was because I got a network of married men that their wives have women that they're probably trying to fairly decent women that they're trying to find somebody for. And if like so my uncle, he got divorced and he was remarried within 2 years, and it was like 4 women that he was seriously considering marrying prior to him deciding which one he was going to pursue the marriage with. I think that network would push women into the vicinity just because I know how they are. Like when they have their events, and if you're a single man and they've already like pre-qualified you, they will present you with a gang of different like women that they feel like would be a great fit. That's why I answered it that way. So I'm basing it off that.
Y'all help me with this, because I don't base success on marriages like a lot of people do. Like a lot of people want to highlight, oh, marriage, marriage, marriage. And so many women feel validated once they get married, and they'll marry anytime, Dick and Harry, just to be married. Right. I see women marry some of the craziest Negroes. And I'm like, you thought this, like did you think at all? Or was it just like, oh, marriage is on the table? I do. So when I see dudes remarrying, I look at that more so of the desperation of women out here, because a guy can get married and get married again and get married again and get married again. Women can too, but guys can usually get married 3 and 4 times if they want to, because there's a lot of desperate women trying to get married. But if we're talking about king talk and we're talking about a standard, a structure, it's like we can't just be looking at these guys because they can get a wife again as these guys are quality men. I look at these dudes are just like, yo, you're benefiting from a desperate market. And maybe I'm misunderstanding the point.
What makes these men not quality men?
Say it again.
Hold on. Let me say something, because a lot of things you're saying, Will, I guess I break the mold of that. So I haven't been married long. I got married on August 31st at 1 p.m. August 31st of 2024, just recently. So yeah, I was in a dating market. So 2016, my divorce to my previous life was final. So I think Trev asked the question, if I get a divorce, can I do better? Well, I did better. I upgrade. So in 2016, my divorce was final. 2018, it took me a couple years before I got to the mindset of even thinking about getting married again. I had to go through therapy to even go through to get it. So 2018, I was back on a date. Well, really 2016, but I didn't date the first year after my divorce. About 2017, I started, going out, seeing people and interacting with women and stuff like that. 2018, I was full blown out there, all the way up to probably when I tried to rekindle my marriage with my ex-wife for maybe about a year and a half. It just didn't work. So 2021, we called it quits. So guess what? I'm back out there again. And in 2023, got with my current wife. We married by 2024.
How old are you, Hank?
49.
Okay. So Hank, was during that time period that you were out there searching, or just out there in general, was it difficult for you to find your wife?
No, it wasn't difficult for me because I already had a previous relationship with her. So that part wasn't difficult for me. But from what I was seeing out there, yeah, I probably wouldn't make these other heifers my wife. I'll tell you that.
So there you have it. It's not a matter of discovering her. I think the fear and the challenge comes with maintaining and keeping the marriage together and not failing. Like a lot of these guys I don't know how old you are, all due respect, but a lot of these guys that are around his age, they don't want the marriage to fail. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to get into some shit
Yeah.
that's just going to turn around. You can discover 100 women and wife them. That's not a matter. The issue is being able to maintain and keep that marriage, you know what I'm saying, going. That's the issue. And why are we acting like it's a matter of finding them? No, it's a matter of
missing.
But that was what I
right?
pointed out. That was what I pointed out earlier. I've spoken to plenty of men that were divorced, and they, again, the mature ones, were able to point out. Come on, Darwin, you know what's up.
The mature ones. Can you explain what you mean by that? Because that's the second time you said that.
What I mean by the mature ones are the ones that are able to look at the relationship and say, okay, this is where I realized that things were starting to go south and I gave up on it. Then you have other men that aren't mature, in my opinion, that will solely blame it on the woman. The only way for the relationship to fail, it has to be a joint thing, right? No. So even if the woman feels as if you're not doing this, you're not doing that, whatever the case may be, right? In marriage, you made a vow that you're going to figure things out until death do you part. So if it gets to the point where both parties eventually give up and say, I'm no longer investing my time, effort into this relationship, whatever happens is going to happen. That's usually when the divorce happens.
So let me get this straight. When you say maturity, are you saying, are the guys that wasn't mature, or the guys that was mature? I saw it coming to an end, so I gave up. Is that it? Do you mean like, well, I saw myself in a sexless marriage for 6 months and I tried to work it out with this helper and I gave up? Is that a fair example of what you mean by mature?
Why did it become a sexless marriage?
Oh my God.
You just can't answer it at face value. You have to move the goalposts.
I mean, that's not moving the goalposts. I mean, that's a real question. Is that not real?
No, what he's saying is what he's saying
is a real question, but you answer the question with a question.
Okay,
so that's being in bad faith.
So you're saying that this man has been in a sexless marriage for 6 months and he gives up on it.
I don't see guys rock it out for 10 years, no sex.
No, let him answer, darling.
He gave up on his marriage because he could not put up with a woman, laying next to a woman who no longer desired him.
Is that not giving up? I think that's giving up on a relationship, marriage. Right?
I think we're talking about the wrong thing, gentlemen. I mean, the question is, let me see when scroll. Okay, it says, do you believe there are no wives left? Are women truly wife material today, or is it just harder to find them?
Look at
Here's the answer
to the question.
There's really no wives left.
You bailed yourselves out of that, but then go ahead.
No. Watch this. There's really no wives left. However, like what Sherm was saying, which I disagree, but I kind of understand what he's saying. I think he just communicated it in a way that didn't make sense to me as much.